Are you prepared to spend 5 or more hours every single week on this property? And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't buy it. And you maybe want to think of an alternative route. Hello, and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer, and I want to talk about passive investing versus active investing. And there's a lot of confusion, I think, on this from people. And so for me, active investing is investing in real estate, investing in anything really that you have to operate or you have to hire somebody to operate. And so we're talking about rental real estate, buying a duplex, buying a single family home to rent, buying even an apartment building and running that apartment building, being a part of that. That's an active real estate. Don't fool yourself into thinking, well, that's going to be passive. I'm looking for passive income, so I'm going to buy myself a duplex and I'm going to hire a property manager or whatever you're going to do to manage that thing. That is not passive. That is active. You are running and operating a business, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to understand, is that truly what you're looking for? Is that the right fit for you? Because I think a lot of people get into real estate. And this is the people that get into real estate and they think this is going to be a passive deal. I'm going to buy this duplex, buy 5 of them, and it's going to be passive, great, and we're going to make a bunch of money. And all of a sudden, things start to happen, and they get sucked into the business. And now, maybe that property manager they have to fire. Now, they hire a new one. They have to fire that one. And by the way, this has happened to me, where I've hired property managers and have to fire them, and have to fire them, and have to fire them. And that's a lot of work to do, and you're involved. You're going to the property way more than you expected to. You're having to make a ton more decisions than what you expected to. And you potentially have to just take it over yourself, right? In order to get it to where you need to be. And that's when we talk about the burnt out landlord, right? The burnt out landlord is the one that thought this was going to be easy, thought this was going to be passive. And they have a full-time job. They have wife and kids. They are husband and kids. They have a busy life, and they weren't prepared, and they didn't think that the real estate was going to be so active. And then they complain. That's that crabby uncle, that complains about the tennis toilets and the trash and all the stuff that's bad about real estate. And they say, well, just don't do it. And most of you have heard it before, or at least heard stories about it. It's just the burnt out landlord that just hates real estate, says never consider it. Stocks are way better. It's just you can't make money in it. Okay. And it's true if you're going to be an active investor, if you are going to buy your own duplex, like single family homes, apartments, commercial real estate, whatever, if you're going to buy your own, it's true that you can't make money if you're not going to be active. You're going to be active. Now, you might get lucky for a period of time, right? You might get very lucky for a period of time. And if you've got a great location, and you get those perfect tenants in there, that could last for a long period of time, and maybe you get really lucky. But for the most part, it will become fairly active at times. Even if you hire that perfect third-party property manager. By the way, there is no such thing as a perfect third-party property manager. It just doesn't exist. I have hired and had a lot of different third-party property management companies, and there's always something that is not great, right? There's always things that you're like, man, I really would like to change this, or I wish I could change this, or man, these guys aren't quite as good as I would like on this aspect of it. So there's always issues with third-party property management. I don't care who you are. I just don't see it being perfect. I've probably had a total of, I bet I'm close to 10 different property management companies in different states, in different assets, and I've never had a perfect experience. And I feel like I have fired pretty much everybody, other than the ones I currently have. And there's still things that aren't great with them. So it will be active. And if you don't think it's going to be active, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to get burned out. You're going to hate it. You're going to end up selling the property potentially for a loss. If the market's down, it's not a good situation. So you have to decide, is that something you want to do? Look, I mean, I got a call the other day from a person, from a guy, and he was talking to me about strategy. And we were just talking about what he wanted to do. And he is wanting to buy, apartment buildings, small apartment buildings, and run them and operate them. And he was going to potentially hire a property management company, but maybe keep it in house. Wasn't sure. But this guy has a great job, making a really good amount of income. Salesperson making a really good amount of income. He's got a family, got a wife. I think he had three kids. Um, you know, volunteers for his church. Just doing a lot, right? And he's looking to create some passive income. And those are his words. Like I'm looking to create some passive income with real estate. I want to buy, some small multifamilies, and that's great. It's great. But my questions to him were, well, how much time do you want to dedicate to this? Well, I don't, not really much. I don't have much time to dedicate. Okay. And do you want to quit your job, or is that what you're eventually kind of going after, or are you going to keep your job? What's the plan there? And the plan was, well, yeah, no, I mean, I like my job. I don't have any reason to quit. Eventually, I'll retire, but that wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't to quit his job. So I said, well, look, I mean, it sounds like you're wanting passive income, but trying to go an active income route. And you have to understand what you're doing. So if you want to go that way, that's fine, but you're going to be active, and you're going to have to prepare to spend time at these properties, prepare to spend time dealing with the tenants, the toilets, the trash, right? Dealing with the maintenance, dealing with the phone calls, even if you hire a property management company, you're going to have to deal with the property management company. You're going to have to potentially fire them, right? And hire the next one on, and fire them and hire the next one on, and so on. You're going to have to deal with them. You're still going to have to asset manage. You want to be involved in the property if you're an active investor. Like, that's just part of the deal. And so my question just was, look, I mean, are you prepared to spend 5 or more hours every single week on this property? Like, and if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't buy it. And you maybe want to think of an alternative route. And by the way, it's some weeks it's going to be 0 hours, and other weeks it's going to be 2 hours, and other weeks it's going to be 20 hours. So, it's going to be potentially, you have to spend all day Saturday and Sunday there. Right. So you have to be prepared for that and okay with it. And for him, that it just didn't seem like a good fit. Now, for other people I talked to, and I talked to a lot of people about this type of scenario, and a lot of people I talked to, look, they're young, they're driven, they maybe don't have a family yet, or they do, but they just want to quit their job. Like they don't like what they're doing, and they want to get into real estate full time. And for those people, I'm never saying, well, you should really think of the passive route. Now, the passive route could be an option if you're trying to get into syndication, if you're trying to learn how passive investors, what they're looking for. Yeah, certainly that's an okay route to put some money into a passive investment, but that's not your ultimate goal if you're going to be an active investor, if you're going to build a large real estate portfolio. So you got to get in the game, right? You got to get in the game, and being active is no big deal. But if you're just trying to get some passive income from real estate, I think it's a no-brainer. Like, invest in a syndication, like what we offer at Endurus, right? Invest in a syndication, invest in REITs. That's the most passive. You don't get as much of the benefits, but that's the most passive. It's a stock. It's a real estate stock. So invest in REITs, invest in syndications, invest in other types of funds, right? That invest in different real estate assets, right? Notes and stuff like that. Those are, to me, that's the way to go. If you want to go a little bit more active but still stay fairly passive, you could do a couple different things. You could be a hard money lender. Now then you got to deal with potential foreclosures and things like that. So very passive until there is a problem. Then it becomes a nightmare, right? And attorneys and all that kind of stuff. So do you want to deal with that? Maybe, maybe not. The other one is the triple net lease, buying like a Walgreens type thing and a Dollar General, something like that. And so you could buy one of those and you could be pretty passive, honestly. They call that mailbox money. You do have to pay a little bit of attention to the property. Of course, you can't be completely absentee. You have to at least hire somebody, maintenance type person, or real estate agent or somebody to watch over the property here and there, make sure that things are being taken care of properly by the tenant that you've got in place. And if it's a really reputable company like a Dollar General, you're probably going to have very little to do, if anything, right? But you still do want to have a little bit of checks on that property, right? So that's another fairly passive thing that you can do, is a little bit more active. I think the control aspect is the thing that trips people up the most with syndications and with REITs. Is I've got zero control investing in funds, right? I've got zero control. I can't make any decisions on what property is being purchased, what business plan is being implemented, when we're selling, when we're refinancing, nothing like that. I just can't control that. And look, I think that's a mindset thing. First of all, I think you need to let go of that a little bit, and because you got to look at your goals ultimately first. First, what is going to achieve my goals? Second is, okay, so I got this control. I'm a control freak, and I get it. Like, that's me. But you have to be able to let go of that a little bit. And quite frankly, are are you sure you want the control? You might say, yeah, I want, of course, that's a no-brainer, but are you ready to make the decision on what neighborhood to buy in, what type of property to buy in, what to do to that property in order to get it to the right spot, in order to maximize your return on investment, all that kind of stuff. So are you actually prepared for all of that, and then managing the property after you purchase it? Like, what has more risk? Is it investing passively and not having control, or is investing actively and having the control, something you don't even know how to control? Um, so you got to think about that. The other thing too is people will go, well, the returns are just so much better if I do it myself. The returns are so much better. Like, I can get these great returns. And well, are you taking into consideration your time and what your time is worth? Because most people don't. Most people don't think about, hey, I'm working 5 hours a week or 8 hours a week or whatever on this property, and I, pay myself 50 or whatever you're making at your job, $50 an hour, $75 an hour, whatever it is, $25 an hour. Uh, you pay yourself. So pay yourself your wage that you make at your job, and then consider how much you're actually making for a return. Are you sure? So are you sure it's actually more than what you'd get at with a syndication or a REIT? You got to think about that too. So, all right, know your goals. Just understand what you're wanting to achieve. If you want passive income, go the passive route. If you want active income, go the active route. Two totally different things. Either running a business, you're going the active route, or you're being passive. You're actually an investor going the passive route. I'm Todd Dexter. That's it. Make every day Saturday.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe, but your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out. And we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.